In today's training, we'll be going over part one of the benefit enrollment module. In this training, we'll go over some of the primary advantages of the module as well as the basic setup included in our benefit structure. Our benefit enrollment module comes with a variety of different advantages. Some of those include streamlined operational efficiency, where you have the ability to handle multiple costing structures that flow into offerings during the open enrollment. We offer year-to-year costing adjustments made through the setup without actually editing each and every employee. We can easily adjust online enrollments, whether it be the period by which the enrollment is available and or simply the offerings involved. Also, employee access to viewable employee as well as employer contributions are available. We do offer automated files to be sent to the vendor, as well as customizable transaction workflows, and finally, automated notifications to help assist in the communication of major changes or processes taking place during, prior, or post-benefit enrollment periods. There are a variety of different tables that work together in the creation of and linkage between the benefits plans. These validation tables, or what I call building blocks, all help in supplying information to build up the logic built into the system. Oftentimes referred to as the spaghetti model, these tables intertwine to help define the details in terms of the types of benefits, the costing, eligibility, and so much more. The first table we'll be taking a look at today is the benefit codes table. The benefit codes table serves as the most important table within the benefit module, as it is the meeting point that ties many of the other tables together. As you can see, there are a variety of different drop-downs within this table. That helps to tie the various requirements for the specific benefit together. As we get through this training, we'll go through many of those other additional tables. So to get started, this table, like all validation tables in our system, asks for a code and a description. The code has a maximum character count of 10 characters, and we suggest that all be capital and alphanumeric only. The description helps to go ahead and allow for a more descriptive nature where we have up to 30 characters, and you can go ahead and use those special characters as well. As we move down, you can see that we tie the vendor name here to help pinpoint where, when, and to whom the payment information should be sent. Additionally, by tying the vendor into benefits, you will provide another mechanism for filtering reports and those benefits. The benefit type is used to help clarify the sequence of events that this benefit should follow in terms of enrollment. For example, will the benefit require to pick a beneficiary or an amount? Will it simply go ahead and choose a coverage level? This benefit type helps to pinpoint what options are going to be available and which options should be required during the online enrollment process. The benefit category helps to group specific types of benefits together. This is oftentimes used for reporting as well as any kind of custom development that may be needed to be created on a specific benefit record. Like the benefit category, the wellness program allows for additional reporting purposes based on a wellness program. And then down below, there are a variety of different checkboxes that can be indicated. The first one, our imputed income, helps to initiate the system computation for imputed income. For plans like group term life in excess of $50,000, our system, instead of an in and out payroll process like many of our competitors, we have the ability to simply calculate the imputed income and route the calculation to the below earning code that we tie out down below. The auto enroll allows during the new hire processing to automatically enroll eligible employees in benefit packages according to the selected benefit profile on their HREE master and the eligibility tied to the specific record. We then have a couple indicators having to do with our ACA module, both Track EE ACA as well as Track Dependent ACA. When checked, the employee will need to select a reason for waiving these coverages as part of the self-service enrollment. after the enrollment is approved, this information will be available on the waived employee benefit detail for that specific plan type. Additionally, as you can see over here, the max dependent age will be enforced if filled out if those track ACA markers are enabled. To enforce the limit on the dependent age during the enrollment, just simply define the max dependent age on the benefit code setup record, and then the regulatory guidelines will go ahead and take place on the policy plans. The next indicator, this waived coverage plan, does go ahead and allow us to know that this specific plan is a waived coverage. That helps to go ahead and stop the process by which the benefit type is indicating that sequence of events. For example, we are looking at a specific medical plan. When we look at the waived benefit record for medical, and that is indicated, instead of choosing a coverage level, it's simply going to go ahead and follow through and say, you know what, they have waived it. We do not have to move forward and choose a coverage level. The next indicator is our open enrollment eligible indicator. This allows this plan to be available during the benefit self-service enrollment selection with the specific benefit type and eligible employees. This does not automatically plug this benefit into the open enrollment process, but instead simply makes this benefit an option that you can select when going through that selection module. As we swing over, you do see that we do have effective dates and termination dates up here. Oftentimes it is a plus to go ahead and put in the correct effective date of when this benefit started to be offered. We do have a separate area where you're going to have your different effective dates in terms of the costing calculation, which will come later. This is simply when did this benefit actually start to kick in with your company policies. The termination date can be left blank unless you have a true termination date. At that point, you can go ahead and terminate not only the policy, but also transfer that information out to anybody that has that benefit plan tied to them as well. The next indicator allows you to go ahead and place a policy ID number in this specific record for reporting purposes. The indicator for COBRA eligible does denote that this specific plan can be continued through COBRA at the employee's cost after termination. Also, it does go ahead and indicate that this is a COBRA eligible event that can be tied through that process as well. If you indicate that this plan is COBRA eligible, there is another area that we will go into also later where you can place the employee's costing for that continued coverage. The next indicator and box next to it has to do with our accruals. They help to define the rate by which the benefits may accrue. You can set the rate, carryover, the reset, the total max, and a variety of different ways the accrual and frequency may happen in our hours accruals table. We'll take a look at that later as well so that you can see how that can be filled out, and then you can simply check the box and tie that specific accrual to the benefit code record. The next is our benefit eligibility. This helps to define the eligibility for the particular individuals on this specific benefit plan. You may have as many benefit eligibility rules tied out as need be. For example, if you have a medical plan that's eligible in 30 days, but your dental does not kick in until 90 days, those would be separate benefit eligibilities that can tie out to separate benefit code records. This is also where you set when the benefit should kick in terms of costing and when it should be processed. We will go into the benefit eligibility training table as well to go ahead and review those elections. The ESS HRF also allows for us to go ahead and link either a URL or additional documentation to be added during the open enrollment process. This allows for online users or employees to access additional documentation during the online enrollment process. Finally, below, you can define the number of payrolls for the annual calculation to take place. Based on these numbers, the payroll will take the annual rates housed in the benefit cost codes table and calculate how much per pay period should be taken. Those numbers are then filtered into the employee or employer deduction codes located at the bottom right. If there is not an employee or an employer cost associated with this specific benefit, you can go ahead and leave those blank. The next table we'll take a look at is the benefit cost codes table. As you can see, you can click directly into the table from this benefit codes table, or you can reach it directly from the list of validation tables where we access the benefit codes table as well. This table links the deductions and the benefit codes to the actual costs. These can be standard, or this can be set by a cost rule that will calculate based on some criteria. In video 2, we will follow more on the benefit cost codes table and different options that may be set up for different types of benefits and different costing structures. The next table we want to take a look at is our coverage codes table. This table lists different coverages and allows you to define what benefits will use these coverages. For example, medical will have an employee only, employee plus spouse, employee plus children, or a family plan in most cases. In the eligible benefit types area, you will add the exact benefit type verbiage to allow for the selection of that coverage. This table, based on the benefit types, then ties into the benefit cost codes table that we were just on to help link the particular costs associated with the benefits. As you can see, the coverage code table, like many other validation tables, requires a code and a description, ties that benefit type to it, and then allows us to go ahead and define whom and how many should be covered. When looking at an employee-only coverage, you'll see that only up to one person can be covered, and it will go ahead and indicate that it's only the employee. For something like a family plan, on the other hand, it will go ahead and indicate that, in this case, up to 99 people can be covered, and it can go ahead and allow for dependents to be any part of the family. These indicators will directly feed off of the information living in your contacts table. Your contacts table allows you to indicate whether an employee dependent is a spouse, a child dependent, only an emergency contact, a beneficiary, and so forth. This allows for the system to use the logic and only allow those tied out individuals that meet the criteria to be a dependent or beneficiary on the specific benefits. The next table we're going to take a look at is our benefit eligibility rules codes table. Here, this helps to define the eligibility for particular individuals, oftentimes closely related to the profile codes. This is also where you set when the benefit will kick in and the cost is processed. As before, you will go ahead and create a code and a description. You have the ability to go ahead and place a minimum age requirement on the specific benefit if need be. You can also go ahead and place in there that a certain amount of hours need to be worked. If the benefit has some sort of regulation in terms of meeting a specific salary requirement, minimum and maximum annual salaries can be placed to go ahead and define or filter those employees out. The next area to the side allows you to go ahead and define any kind of required benefit that may be in your rules for your specific benefits. For example, for voluntary life plans, Oftentimes, in order to sign up for a spousal or a dependent life plan, you must actually select the employee voluntary life plan. Here, we could require any of the benefits that are tied to that specific employee-only voluntary life plan in order to meet the eligibility for spousal or dependent life. That way, our system will automatically, during online enrollment, throw up an error flag if someone were to attempt to log in and enroll in either spousal or dependent life without actually choosing the coverage for employee voluntary life. Down below, as you can see, this is where we'll go ahead and let the system know when the coverage should actually become eligible. The original hire date, the adjusted hire date, the rehire date, or the benefit service date can be used to define the eligibility for coverage. Additionally, you can go a step further and define how many days, months, or quarters after that specific date might the eligibility and effective date be placed on. Down below, you can take the next step by letting us know or letting the system know when the costing should actually go ahead and take place. Should it be based on so many days or months after the coverage date? And what should we be taking into account in terms of the payroll begin date? Are we looking at payroll period dates, or are we looking at the actual check date in terms of the payroll processing? Oftentimes, we suggest using the payroll period dates. Therefore, you have a window to look at in terms of the date that goes into the benefit detail record within the core of the system. The next table that we're going to take a look at is our benefit type codes table. Found primarily in the administrator or web security role, the benefit types table helps to go ahead and clarify the type of sequence of events that the benefit should follow in terms of the enrollment. As I said before, this helps to go ahead and define out whether they will be choosing a beneficiary, whether they'll be choosing a simple coverage level, or if there's some sort of calculation based on a select amount that must be chosen during the benefit type. As you can see, we do have multiple open enrollment types built in here. The first one, covers dependents, allows for us to go ahead and define out what coverage level basically this specific benefit should be taken into. Covers beneficiaries with select, allows you to choose not only the beneficiary, but to select an amount that should be covered. This is oftentimes tied to kind of an optional life plan or secondary life plan. Covers beneficiaries. This would be something more group term life, where you're simply choosing a beneficiary to be tied to a standard amount that's already selected for the employee. Covers employee only. This is things like your HSA or FSA that are simply tied to the employee. A flexible spending account, an FSA where you'd actually choose the amount that's going to be contributed and tied to the employee. Deferred compensation amounts, so 401ks, 403bs, and so on. The supplemental or spousal life will go ahead and kind of run off the same rules as the select voluntary plans, but here it will actually go ahead and point the employee as the automatic beneficiary. HMO covers dependents would allow not only for you to choose the coverage level, but also to define out a specific physician that needs to be selected for your HMO plan. Your HSA will go ahead and tie out to your HSA similar to the FSA account up above, where you're going to select a specific amount that will go ahead and filter through the benefit type. And then lastly, covers employee only with select. Again, this could be an optional life plan where you're selecting a specific amount and then also covers the employee only. As you can see, you can go ahead and create as many codes and descriptions as need be and tie those back to that benefit codes table to not only choose the sequence of events, but also group multiple benefits together for election purposes during the open enrollment, online enrollment portion. The next table that we're going to take a look at is our benefit plan information. The benefit plan information allows us to go ahead and list information during the enrollment selection portion of the benefits. This allows you to illustrate plan details and to even link a website. It will appear as a hyperlink in the enrollment selection with the verbiage more info. After all of the validation tables are built and correct, you must access the new hire profile from the backend or FAT client of the system. This will allow you to define which benefit codes are tied to what benefit profiles. For SaaS clients, please reach out to your account manager to help you with this. In part 2 of the benefit enrollment training, we will continue to go through more of the benefit setup validation tables and explain how they correspond with the online enrollment process. Furthermore, in part 3, we will walk through the enrollment process, the benefit detail records, and overall benefit management. There are also a variety of different break-off sessions that will dig in a little bit deeper on current setups and enhancements that are happening with the benefit module.